right. Are we ready? All right. Welcome to Hollywood Hamilton and the K2 Morning Crew, Gwen.
Hi. Thanks for having me. This is insane.
You're so beautiful. I love the outfit.
Thank you.
Stunning. Absolutely stunning. Now, we got to kick things off with the fact that you have a brand new album. It's actually ironic, though, because it's the 20th anniversary of your debut solo album, Love Angel Music Baby, came out, which you're wearing
my shirt. Yeah.
Nice.
That means that this shirt is 20 years old.
I mean, listen, you got to hold on to it. It's vintage.
I hope it doesn't ever get lost, but yeah.
It's vintage. That's how you have to consider it. We all have a couple of vintage things. But now that your fifth studio album, Bouquet, is basically almost out on the exact same day, first solo album in 7 years, you've evolved immensely. So how does this project differ from the last project?
A lot. I mean, life happens, you know. I think that it was every single record has its own story, and they're all completely different. I think that each one you're just so unbelievably grateful for, and they all express, for me, it's really all about expressing that time period, right? And kind of like capturing it, like kind of reining it in and holding it and keeping it in that place. And I think each song sort of speaks back to you after you write it. Like I basically receive them. I feel like they just are handed to me, especially the ones that are like, they mean anything. I'm just as surprised as anyone else. You know what I mean? So
it just comes to you.
It does. And it comes down from the spirit, you know? So it's like, I think that being able to share that at that point is like, that's what today is. And it's like this euphoric, I'm actually living my purpose right now. Like, I feel like I was supposed to do this, and now I'm trying to let it out to the world, and it's going to do what it's going to do, and people are going to receive it. It's just such an amazing thing, music, you know?
I love that.
It connects us. It really does.
It really does. I mean, especially getting to know you, like, through your music. Music is absolutely what connects people.
It's true. And to answer your question, which I know I always take these long cul-de-sac trips around the block, but I think that like Love Angel Music Baby, that time period was pretty magical. I think it was because I was sort of, you know, I was in the No Doubt thing, which was just natural, organic, perfect in that way. But when we were like, okay, we're going to take a little break, a little hiatus, you know, it was just like, again, received this message like, go do a dance record. I was like,
switch it up.
It was because I think that, you know, when I discovered music, like genre wise, I got really into like, you know, in high school, that identity thing where you're like trying to figure out who you are through music. It was like, I found ska, reggae, and punk, and like all this stuff that was like, it made me who I was. But then there was all this other stuff that was happening on the radio that was the backdrop to my life. It was like hearing Prince on the radio for the first time, like Little Red Corvette. Like,
do you find that to be more influential in your music?
I think that every record has its own influence. Like, I think on Love Angel Music Baby, it was like Lisa and the Cult Jam, Debbie Deb. It was like this dance music that, like, I used to go dancing in Orange County. We had like Knott's Berry Farm, and they had like dance night, and you could go there for like $5 to get in the park. And then like everyone that was like into ska and reggae would like show up there with their scooters, and then everybody else would be like white lines, and you're dance, you know what I mean? And you'd wait for the ska song to come on.
Yeah.
So my point is that it was all of that music. So when I went to do that record, I was very clear. I was like, I know exactly what it's going to be, what it's going to sound like. And it was the first time ever venturing out and writing with writers and like being like, I'm just going to go do this. Well, now to answer the question again, like this record was a different thing. It was like, where am I now? Who am I now? What's my truth? Like, I don't want to go back and try to compete with myself or like try to like repeat myself or compete with the world now or try to fit in. Like, it can't. I have to. You said the word evolve, and like I always want to feel like I'm doing that no matter what happens, because we don't know what it feels like to get into the future. But here it is right now, you know, and it feels pretty good.
Good. That's the best part of it, you know. Now, you are a creative artist. Would you recommend listening to the new album from track 1 to the end? Like, does it tell a story from the first track all the way to the end?
I love the order. I think it kind of does. I think that it wasn't really super like thought out in that way. I was working with this amazing producer that produced the album, and he had like, once he mixed the whole thing, he sent it in this order, and he's like, I think it's pretty good like this. And I was
so
like,
he curated it.
So
basically.
He did, but then I changed around a couple of songs because lyrically I was like, no, that has to wait. Like, I can't, that one. But I think that overall, like when I listen to it now, what I love about the record is I really wanted to make this a bouquet of songs, right? And I wanted it to feel like intentional, edited, like a select amount, like that you could just, it's only 10 songs, so it's very short, you know what I mean? And I think that was intentional, you know, and it was hard because I had written a lot of songs to get these 10.
And then 10. How do you narrow it down to get to just 10, right?
I think it just is one of those things, they kind of rise to the top, like, you know, if you like cook pasta and it just kind of comes, it's like, okay, it's done. It's done.
Ready.
Yeah.
So if I were to say to you, give me a song off the album that stands out to you the most that you would want me to dive in and listen to first, which one would it be?
Well, I'm just getting to know you, but you have a love thing here, like your necklace, right?
Yes.
And I would say, like, one of the songs that it's such a simple song, and it doesn't even say that much, but one song that I really feel like people would relate to is a song called Pretty. And the story behind that song is just so simple. It's kind of like, I always think about like myself looking in the mirror when I was like in 8th grade in the gym, like nobody was in there. And I was looking in the mirror and I'm like, am I pretty? Like, I can't tell. Like,
of course you are.
Because, you know, at that age, but at that age,
you
don't
never know.
And you're like, what am I? And then like through the years, you always are like critical of yourself or like trying so hard or looking back and going, oh, I looked horrible then, or why was I doing that? Or,
you know, when you pull out those pictures now, it's like, whoo, what was I doing with my hair? What was I doing with my makeup?
Especially when you're advanced up into the future like we are, where I am. And so like I think that like I was looking back at myself and thinking like, what was my prettiest time? Where did I peak? Like inside and out, you know? And I look at the pictures from like 2015 when I met Blake and like somebody actually loved me for the first time and I felt what love really felt like. He was actually giving himself to me and I was receiving and giving myself back. That is love.
Oh my God, I'm getting chills.
Yeah, but it's true.
That. Because you know why? When you do get loved like the right way by someone, you do glow. And people and your friends notice that because they'll say, "What? You're glowing. You're so happy."
Yes, and that's what that song's about. And I think that like it's what fascinates me the most is, and I'm just starting to get to see this because it's just coming out, but even leading up to it coming out, when, you know, people that I've known or that have heard the record, they pick up on these things and you're like, I just basically gave you the definition, but like without knowing, they'll tell me back like, oh my gosh, that song, like it made me cry, like I finally felt love and now I know. So like I love that when it's just like they feel what I felt.
Yes.
That's the whole point of doing this record,
it's
right?
It's like right in the core.
Yeah.
It hits you in the core.
Yeah.
It's just, you know that you just did the right thing. And I love, oh my God, now I'm going to go have to listen to
You
Pretty.
better.
I'm doing that one. Now, we got to talk about track number 1, Somebody Else's. Based off the title alone, when I just saw Somebody Else's, kind of made me feel like people could speculate you're somebody else's, but in the song you say true love grows. So what do you mean by that and how has it grown for you?
Well, I feel like the whole album talks about love growing and the idea that if you kind of plant a seed in the ground, in the earth, right?
And water it.
And you water it and and then you don't water it or whatever it is, whatever the circumstances, you know, you can't force it to grow, really. It's really going to grow if it's going to.
It's not.
It is. And I think that theme is on this record and woven in between all the songs. And that metaphor is like such a metaphor of life, you know what I mean? And I can't remember what the question was.
Somebody else's. Like, because just hearing somebody else's, it's like.
It's early, guys.
Are you someone else's or are you somebody?
I think for that, in that song, it's the idea that you can, you know, sometimes if you have like, let's say a trauma, like a major trauma.
Right.
And then you have like PTSD and trauma and like, it really is something that is imprinted into your brain forever, you know?
Absolutely.
And
then you get the triggers behind the trauma.
It is so true. And I talk about that on the album. There's another song on that called Swallow My Tears that is all about. But I think that the truth is that time does heal. You know, and I think that song is proof to that. Like it's like it doesn't break my heart, right?
Right.
It doesn't break my heart anymore because I'm done. And it's such a healing song. Even though the song is quite like it calls out some negative energy, it definitely is a hopeful song in a lot of ways too. So
it's a great way to say I'm over you. Like it's like an anthem.
Yeah.
You know,
and it's not I'm over you and I don't care and I don't love you and I didn't love the time. It's more like I healed.
Right.
It's not even about
like I'm good.
It's actually not about that person. It's about me.
Oh.
Yeah. So I think that's what if you have to look. This is what's so cool about lyrics too. If I go and explain too much, then someone else is going to have their gift of that song that they received from me and what it means to them taken away. Because
Gotcha.
you know what I mean? At the end of the day, like I think that everyone gets what they need out of a song, you know? And I think you can also sometimes listen to songs, and I've been doing this so much lately, like listening to a lot of like 70s soft rock that was from my childhood.
Yep.
And you hear lyrics, I was like, oh my God, I never knew they said that. Like, what are they talking about? Like,
right, you receive it differently years later sometimes.
Yeah, like I was thinking about that song Maneater. Do you remember?
Yes, of course.
And my mom would be like, we're on the way to church. She'd be like, Dennis, turn this song. And I'm like, what is Maneater? Like, I don't even know what is she? Why is she so mad? And then, you know what I mean? Anyways, that's not a good example, but it actually is.
No, that almost reminds me of when I was a kid. I used to listen to I Want Your Sex. And my mom's like, do you even know what sex is? I'm like, I want your sex. I'm like singing it. She's like, I can't. She goes, can you please throw that out? I'm like, no, I like it. She's like, you don't even know what it is. Or like a virgin. She's like, you don't even know what that is.
I know. Well, it's true. It's like you don't really know until like later, and songs can. And this is the most miracle thing about songs if you're a songwriter. And for me, which is my favorite thing, and it happens a lot, is you'll write it with the intention because you're like, I'm going to write this. Like, this is what I want to say. And then it's finished, and then you're listening, and it dawns on you, like, I didn't know I was really saying that.
Wow.
And then you're like...
So you have like that epiphany aha moment. Like, where did this come from?
Yeah. You know where it came from. The man upstairs, guys.
It was given to you. It was gifted to you,
yes,
basically.
Gifted. Yeah.
So now, Swallow My Tears, which you mentioned before, you reflect on how a past relationship can impact a current. That I have to say is very deep, which I absolutely love. A lot of the songs on this new album seem reflective of like feelings and emotions. So what other things were you going through while going through the writing process?
I think I was struggling a lot with being in the future of my life and identity, like, you know, like finding new love, which was incredible and fulfilling. Being a mom, which is challenging, incredible blessing. But I think that being a songwriter and having that, like being blessed and spoiled the way I have been to be able to like touch people and have like people react, like I think that's something that I was missing that, you know, and I think that I will, and then I was like, okay, like how do I get that again? And nobody's really asking for it, and no one's actually like when I'm getting excited about it, no one's really getting excited about it. I'm like talking about doing new music, like right. I really was like, should I be doing this? And also like, is it immature and selfish of me at this point in my life to go back in the studio and spend time doing art? Like, what am I doing? Like, it was a lot of those questions, you know, but there was just this inner voice that just, I couldn't, like, once I had planted that idea, that seed in me, like, I just couldn't ignore it. I had to just keep going back and trying. And I went back and tried a lot. And it wasn't until I wrote a song called Purple Irises, and I had walked in the room, and this girl that I worked with, she's a little girl in LA named Nika Rubio. She's an artist. She's probably 20. I don't even know how old she is. But oh my gosh, she had written a song called True Babe that she sent to me. And I don't ever take people's songs because I don't get a lot sent to me, and I usually don't like them, and it's just whatever. I like to write the songs. That's the whole point, is what we've been talking about, right? And I liked the song, so I cut it, and I was like, well, who is it? Who wrote this? And there's this little girl and these guys, Jack and Coke, and I was, well, I should go in the room with them. I like what they do, right? So it was very insecure to go walking in a room as me and be like, hi, guys, let me show you what I got. Like, you don't know if you're going to get creative or be good that day. And then she's just this, like, sparkly, young, beautiful girl. And she's like, my grandma and my mom love your music. You know what I mean? Like, she grew up on No Doubt. And so it's like this weird, like, is this happening right now? But what was so beautiful about it was her energy was what I needed. I needed her to clear the room out for me and let me be me. And it was like a lot of the sessions I had been doing, I felt like very intimidated, or like I felt like the talent was so good. They were so good at what they do that I just didn't have room in the room. And I finally hit that like zone, and I wrote that song, and then that kind of led me to this whole album.
Which is
Thank
Bouquet.
you, Nico. I love you.
So the album is Bouquet. Before
Yes.
you go, one more question about that. Any upcoming tours planned around the album?
Maybe. I don't think so, but maybe. I don't know. This is the thing about the future. You just can't tell what's going to happen next. And I didn't know I was going to have this record. I didn't know I was going to be in New York. I didn't know I was going to get to hang out with you.
Aww.
And so I just think I'm trying to be just super open to receive whatever's supposed to happen next.
Well, happy holidays.
Thank you.
Holidays are coming. Hopefully everybody can put this under the tree. Copy of Bouquet. That would be amazing.
Thank
you so much, Gwen Stefani,
Thanks for
stopping
chatting
by
with me.
KTU and Hollywood Hamilton, and of course the KTU Morning Crew.
I love you guys. Bye.